International Foundation, Kerala, under the guidance of Dr. Gangadharan Nair, Dean of Adi Shankara Sanskrit University. He is also having master's degree in Sanskrit. On the popular side, Dr. Pillai is known for his internationally best-selling book, Corporate Chanakya, and other books in the Chanakya series. With nearly 25 years of experience, Dr. Pillai is a leadership speaker, trainer, and a personal mentor who trains leaders and aspirants from various fields, including corporates, politics, academics, and public services. He is a certified management consultant from International Institute of Management Consultants. Dr. Pillai is the director of SPM Foundation and founder director of Atma Darshan Private Limited. It is a spiritual tourism company, and Chanakya Anvikshiki Private Limited. It is a leadership training and mentoring institute. He has been recently appointed as the Deputy Director of Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies as Autonomous Institute based in the University of Mumbai, Kalina campus. He has written nearly 200 articles and papers for various magazines, newspapers, and journals. He has given a TEDx talk on how to become rich. He has also hosted a radio show, Ask Chanakya, on Mox channel of World Space Satellite Radio. He is a visiting faculty in prestigious institutes in India and abroad, including IIT, IIM, Indian Institute of Science, and so on. He has been a trainer and strategy consultant to over 500 organizations like Indian Army, Navy, Air Force, Indian Police, various NGOs, private and public sector, and government organizations. He has been awarded the prestigious Sardar Patel International Award 2009 and Avishkar Chanakya Innovation Research Award 2013 for his research and contribution in the field of management and industrial development. Recently, he was honored with the Lokmat National Education Leadership Award as the best professor in philosophy. He is rated among the top 30 Indian management thinkers globally by thinkers50.com. We are privileged to have you, sir. And now the session is yours. I will not waste much time. Please address our students. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. And one more announcement. I request all the participants to please enable their video for the photograph session. Please enable your video. All the participants, please enable your video. Thank you. Thank you. Sir, please start.
First of all, a warm good afternoon. Thank you, Alka ma'am, and Jatin sir, and everyone over here of the Shroff College management team, teachers, my dear students, and also some of the parents who must be listening along with the students at home. My namaskars and a warm good afternoon to each one of you. It's an honor to actually speak to all the students through a program organized by the librarian. You know, friends, it's an honor because I believe in books. I've always been a fan of books, and by the grace of God, today I'm an author. And when a college calls me, they call me for three things. Okay. The first thing is to actually do some committee work because I'm part of the Mumbai University. So sometimes as a local management committee, we come to do a lot of reviews, some board of studies. So it's all, work at the academic level. Second time when I come, it is generally to take lectures. So people call me as, teacher of Arthashastra. But the one I love the most is the third category when people call me as an author, because that is something that I love. So when the librarian calls me, I said, wow. So I'm so glad that even though it is virtual, I'm actually meeting not students, but readers. Okay, so I'm first of all want to call you as students, of course, but I would say that all of you are readers, and most important thing, all of you are potential authors. So today in my session, I'm going to actually tell you a lot of things about how to be an author, and my journey of being an author. So friends, it's an honor to be in the world of books. And ma'am rightly requested, can you sign the books? Of course, that's the only thing I do. So I've been autographing books after books after books. I have written 17 books on Chanakya. And actually in the lockdown, I wrote 3 more books. So if I come to a college, I will definitely autograph. Even without that also, no, you can go online and purchase all the books. Start reading it. Autograph and photograph will happen soon. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Jatin sir. Thank you, Alka man. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, everyone over here. So friends, I was thinking, what should I talk about in the next 1 hour? I think I will talk less and answer more questions. Okay, so what is the thing that I'm going to do? 50-50%. So for the next half an hour, I'm going to talk about my journey of being an author. And I'm also going to tell you how you can be an author. And after that, Q&A. So we want to have discussion rather than just one-way communication. So let me start by telling that by the grace of God, by the grace of God, I'm now being called India's #1 business author. So you're speaking to somebody who has not just written books, but probably accepted very much in the popular circle. But let me also be very humble about this, that it doesn't happen without the support of so many other people. You may write a good book, but it doesn't mean it becomes a bestseller. It's all due to librarians, teachers, students, parents, and most important, publishers. So friends, I'll tell you that how I became an author and how you can become an author. So let me show you some of my books. Ma'am showed you one book, Chanakya in You. Now that book, which is an autograph book with her, actually got the Book of the Year award. Yes, and it was by popular voting. Okay, so who voted for the book? All students and teachers. So it's a very popular book, and I got it because of the culture of reading. But let me tell you, my dear friends, before I start, the book she just showed you, Chanakya in You, is actually your journey. It's about a young boy who actually doesn't know what to do in life. I'm sure all of you are also confused equally. What to do, what not to do, what is going to be my career. Your generation is actually very lucky because you can choose from so many options. Okay, in our generation, whatever job you got, you took it up. We never had a choice. And with the national education policy, you can do multiple choices now. But remember, too many choices can also confuse you. So that is what I want to tell you, that you are a very lucky generation. And the book Chanakya in You tells you how to actually find a purpose in your life. It is a life and the story of a young boy who was totally lost. But suddenly he found a book called as Arthashastra. He read it and he became very successful. Many people ask me, is it your story? I said yes and no. Because I was also equally lost like every one of you. Okay? But I found Arthashastra and I became whatever I am today. But that's only 50% of the book story. But the remaining 50% is about you people. You can choose a book, you can study a subject, and you can also be successful. So friends, I like to show you some of my books. Okay. So look at this book. This is my most famous book, my first book called as Corporate Chanakya. For management students, all my teachers are already promoting it. It's a very popular book. You can see it in every particular bookstall, at airport, at railway stations. You can go to Amazon, you can go to Flipkart, everywhere it is available. So this is my first book, which was released in the University of Mumbai on 15th of August 2010. And now I'll show you my 17th book. That is called Chanakya Niti. So from Corporate Chanakya to Chanakya Niti. This book was released just before lockdown happened. So this is my last published book. So totally 17 books already published. And as I told you, 3 more books I have written, which is in the editing process. So totally I'm a 20 book author. And there are some other interesting books in between. There's a whole list. I'm not going to that. There's another interesting book. And this I would definitely recommend all of you. It's called the Chanakya 7 Secrets of Leadership. Chanakya's 7 Secrets of Leadership. This I've co-authored with D. Sivanandan sir, who was a Director General of Maharashtra Police. Okay, so it's a very different book of how you can become a leader, be it a government leader or a police leader or even a political leader or a business leader. Okay, so this is one thing, the secret of becoming a leader. You can also use it for entrepreneurship because I know many of you want to become entrepreneurs, right? Startup India. And there is another book, especially for all of you. It's called Chanakya in the Classroom. Yes. So how students can be good students, but remember it's also for teachers. Teachers can be good teachers. Okay, so the classroom is not about students, it's also about the teacher, isn't it? So it's all about Chanakya and how he was a good student and how he became a good teacher. This also I would recommend because it tells you how to make your timetable, how to study for exams, a lot of other things. Okay, so it's called Chanakya in the classroom. This can be used by students and teachers. Interestingly, I have written a book for children also. It's called Chatur Chanakya. It's a character and it's a series of books. Okay, the first one called Chatur Chanakya, the Himalayan problem. So it is about how Chanakya can be used by young children in schools. All of you are out of school, but you remember the troubles that you had in school? If you had actually learned Chanakya Niti, you wouldn't have trouble. So there is a character, his name is Chatur Chanakya, and he uses Chanakya's techniques like Anvikshiki to actually solve his problems in the school. And the problem that we're addressing in this is called bullying. So one big bully called Himalaya troubles this little boy called Chatur Chanakya. And using his intellect, he defeats him. So it's a storybook. And of course, if you look at the book, there are so many sketches, so many things in the book, you know. So it's a very child-friendly book. It's also a story of a lot of friends. Okay. And here is the news. It's going to get made into a movie. It's going to be a series of movies. So you will see this is getting into a movie also. Why am I showing my books? The reason is that number one, it's a library session organized by the librarian. But I want to tell you that if you do something properly, you can write multiple books on the same subject. And remember, they're all popular books. It's not just, books which is there in the libraries only. Because sometimes it happens that, we have fantastic book collections in our libraries, school libraries, college libraries. But sometimes all those books in the libraries don't reach popularity. But I've been fortunate that it's available everywhere, including college libraries. Thank you, Alka ma'am, for actually keeping a stock and also asking me to autograph it. Definitely, I'm going to do that. But friends, after writing all these books, today, as an author, I'm going to share you the secrets of how I became an author and how you can become an author. Okay. So before I start, I want to tell you a real story. Okay, and my own story when I was in college days, like all of you. So, my friends used to call me Radha because my name is Radhakrishnan, So I would call me Radha kidhar hai, Radha kidhar hai. So in my college days, I was always known as a person who loved the books, who used to read a lot of books. So my friends used to say that if there is no class, sometimes the classes are cancelled. Let's say if Radha is not in the classroom, then either he must be in his, practice at sports ground. So I used to be a sports person. So I used to play a lot. Or he'll be in his canteen because all of us like to go to canteen, right? But my best friends knew that if he's not there in the classroom because there is no class, I have to attend all the classes. Or if he's not in the ground, or not in the canteen, he's definitely in the library and he's reading some book. So yes, my favorite time was actually library. So I used to go over there and I used to spend a lot of time. And the librarian became a very good friend of mine. Okay. And as librarian always used to give me different books. Interestingly, I used to never read too much of textbooks because all of us read textbooks to give exams, isn't it true? But I used to read a lot of new books. I used to go, there used to be a small rack and the rack used to be named as new arrivals. So, what are the latest books and all. The librarian knows what's happening in the publishing industry and they'll keep a lot of, I used to see this and take some book, read it for some time, sometimes to borrow it. But slowly, the librarian said, here is a boy who comes every day, picks up a book, reads, goes back, takes another book. And slowly, he used to recommend me new books. So that is how my reading habit got cultivated right from my house itself. But when I was a college student also, it continued. And then I'll tell you what happened. After I became a successful author, by the grace of God, one day I got called to actually be a chief guest in a program which was a national seminar of Librarian Association of India. So, all the librarians, they also have an association. So I went and there were more than 200 librarians from all over India. And, I was a keynote speaker. So, who's a keynote speaker? He's like the chief guest who will tell you what to do, what not to do. So I was very humbled because, such a big librarian from all over India, 200 of them. And remember, it is not digital. This is all physical. This is much before all the lockdown happened. So I was called, I was the chief guest, I spoke about like what I'm speaking right now. And then after that inaugural program, it was a 3-day seminar. Then you'll see in the program after inaugural, there is a small break. It is called Chai Pe Charcha. So everybody will actually go for a small tea break. And that time I was hanging around with all the librarian friends. Oh, we are from which library? So I am from TIFR. What is TIFR? Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. Oh, a research institution as a library. Somebody from schools, colleges, so they're all there. And when I was talking, there was one person standing over there from far, not coming to talk to me, but far from there looking at me and smiling. I started looking at him and it looked like a common face. इनको कहीं देखा है, but he never actually came forward, just standing there and smiling. I just tried to recognize, and suddenly it hit me, it is the same librarian who was there in my college. And I just rushed to him and said, Ramesh Kamde sir. And he started smiling. I'm glad you recognize me. But you know, I recognized you even before you came for this program. I said, how come? Because in the invitation brochure, it was written, isn't it? That, you know, this will be the keynote speaker, these are the people and all this. You have a program schedule. So when this came to me, my only doubt was that, is it the same Radhakrishnan Pillai? And I checked up in my library, all the books were there of yours. So my library has got your book. I just went and touched his feet and saying, Ramesh sir, thank you so much. It is because of you and your help and support to read the books that today I'm actually addressing the whole Librarian Association of India as a keynote speaker, as a first chief guest. If it was not for your support, I wouldn't have been successful. I touched his feet, then took his number because we were not in touch for many, many years. I took his mobile number and he said, and he told me, I have one request. I said, one request, sir, आप 100 request करो, कोई problem नहीं है. So, you know, I have only one request. I will call you. Of course, you have to come to our college. Well, of course, I'll come. Who doesn't like to go back and meet the teacher? Well, no, I'll call you on a special day. I said, okay. So after 2-3 months, he called me and saying that you have to come to the college. Of course, I'll come. You know what he told me, but he said, you have to come to inaugurate our new library. I said, what? Why new library? Because the libraries are growing, new books are coming, and I'm almost waiting after 20 years and saying that now by the management decision, we have an extra, you know, space for us, and because a lot of new courses have started and all those things, but I want you to come and inaugurate. So when I told the principal, and said, you know, Radhakrishnan Pillai, oh, Radhakrishnan Pillai, the person who wrote Corporate Chanakya, you know him? Yes. And he told, he's our student, he's our alumni. The principal said, bulao, bulao, bulao. So then I went over there, again the principal, I touched his feet and saying, thank you so much, sir. And believe me, this is my journey. From college, back to the college. Okay? From library to another library. So I went to the same college, not as a student, not as an alumni, but as an author. Okay? And library, where I used to read books, and now to a new library to inaugurate it. Isn't it a great privilege? Isn't it a God's grace that you are called back to your college, not just to visit, but actually as a chief guest there? Friends, I don't take any credit for that. Thanks to Ramesh sir. Thanks to all the beautiful books that were available. But I'll tell you, friends, even though I was from the same college, I used to use the same library. Not everybody became an author. Not everybody became successful. So the librarian waits for students to come. I feel very bad for a librarian, you know, because they don't teach much. Of course, there are some teachers who teach library science, but they sit with this whole knowledge and just waiting for that one student to come and say, Miss, sir, madam, please give me the latest book. And I'm telling you, we will not realize it till you actually become a librarian. So the library is not a job. It is actually knowledge protection. I can associate with this. You know why? Because I am a librarian. Huh? When did you become a librarian? I thought you were an author. I actually have been trained by my parents by reading a lot, reading a lot, reading a lot. Since my childhood, my mother used to encourage me. My father is also an author. He writes. But you know, when we were young boys, we didn't have money to buy books. So it's very unfortunate that we could not afford it because that was a poor India. Not me, everybody, okay? So I'm not telling you, hum garib the, sab garib the. So we did not have food to eat, khane ko nahi tha, book to bahut alag baat hai. So we used to actually borrow books from library. It was called a circulating library. So local libraries were there. And maybe we were less fortunate to have your generation of mobiles, and also we could only read. So in vacation, we used to join a circulating library, take books and return. But when I started earning, you know what I did? I started buying books. And today in my house, okay, I'm talking about right from I work from home. I got 7,000 books in my house. How much? Seven. That's my personal collection, okay? So I understand what is the value of books, what is the value of library, but I always call myself as a librarian because I've got all my books organized. You can see around, imagine one whole room of my house actually is a library. Yes, in Bombay, all of you know this, real estate price, very costly. One room is big. But for me, when we bought this house by the grace of God, one book is fully devoted only to books. Now that room is only full. So initially when we had books, it was 5,000. Now it is 7,000 books. And I have a complete list. I make the list of books, new books, old books, digital books. I still love the physical books, okay? One of the pain for librarians is that everybody is reading online, e-books. But Hamara generation is always physical books. I want to tell you that, I know the pain. Because librarian keeps the book properly. And I'll tell you, a librarian knows much beyond what you know about books. I'll tell you one story of a librarian. Because of my love of books, when I started working also, I used to visit different libraries. Okay. And I don't know whether you know this. Maybe I request Alka ma'am and all the management team that you should do an exercise of course, inviting students to your library and introducing to the book, but also take them on a tour to different libraries of India, of Mumbai. It's a very interesting thing. We don't know that Mumbai is having some of the best libraries in this country. We never know this. If you go to VT site, there is something called an Asiatic Library. You know how many years old it is? It was inaugurated in 1805. Okay, and there are so many libraries. But you know what? We just go there, click some photograph, selfie, and post it. This is the place where knowledge has been respected. And great people use this library. Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. All these people use the libraries, and that's why they became great lawyers and freedom fighters. We should understand the value of knowledge and knowledge through books. So I'll tell you one more story of a librarian. Okay. So when I started working, whenever I used to free time, being in Bombay, I used to look out for the nearby library. There are some vachanalayas and newspapers, some books. Just go in, speak to the library and say, I want to read some books. I got 2 hours. I used to be in the sales. So I used to sell a lot of things, So sometimes you go at 2 o'clock, but the person says, come at 4 o'clock. 2 ghanta kya kare? So, I used to go to a library and read. And once, when I was in Nariman Point side, if you know where is Nariman Point? So I just was looking on. Somebody told me there is a beautiful library of NCPA, National Center for Performing Arts. Okay, so I went to, and there was a lady sitting. And I just walked in and said, mujhe librarian se milna hai. I'm the librarian. Can I read some books? Please come, read some books. Whatever you want, you take and read. And then every time I used to go there, slowly, I started building relation with her. I started asking her what kind of books. And she became a great friend. And then she asked me, then we started knowing each other. She told, I've been working in this particular library for the last 32 years. I joined as a young girl, I got married. Now I'm almost going to retire very soon. And I said, 32 years? Okay. And she knew every single book, every single page. She had read all the books. Really? But she will be sitting quietly, looking at the latest newspapers, cutting it, putting on it. Remember one thing, it is a specific library, National Center of Performing Arts. So most of the books were on arts, performing arts. But then I started, once we developed, a good, communication amongst ourselves, we just talking, what do you do? Every time I see you cutting some newspapers and things like that. Saying that, whatever latest comes in every newspaper, our library subscribes, and I start making files of that. Like, can you show me a file? Okay, I can show you. You tell me which artist you want. And I said, okay, that time, we were just in college days. So the latest hero was Shah Rukh Khan. I said, Shah Rukh Khan. Okay. She took out one whole file. Shah Rukh Khan's file, she had paper cuttings for so many years. And I said, okay. No. So you are kept, okay. You want a director? Okay. You want a musician? Okay. So they had 300 files kept. And she said, you know what? If Shah Rukh Khan wants to know something about himself, he comes to this library. Because even Shah Rukh Khan cannot maintain this record which I have maintained. You must be joking. And you'd be surprised. I saw a man coming into that library at that particular time. I saw him. I could not recognize him. His name was Sham Benegal. And if you heard about his name, he's a very famous producer. Some of the best movies he has made, very research-based movies. So he went and because he was a member of the library, he said, and they started reading. You know what? And Sham Benegal told me, this lady is a powerhouse of knowledge because she knows every subject of performing art. She knows every artist. I said, wow. And then she told me, I'm sitting here quietly. I'm curating knowledge. What is the meaning of curating? Collection and, keeping it properly. And that day I realized how much librarians do for us, but how much less we do for them. Because they're never part of the regular teaching community. They sit with their books day and night, waiting for a student to come and ask him. Friends, we should respect librarians because they have saved our knowledge culture. It is so unfortunate. I'm in the Mumbai University also. Okay. When the Britishers, there are a lot of things I don't like about Britishers. They ruled us, I hate them. But one thing about them is that they actually brought the library culture to India. I don't know if you know about this particular point. And if you read the Mumbai University bylaws, I'm in the university, I'm a director. No? So he says, along with the vice chancellor, okay, there are 3-4 powerful posts. Like we have a pro vice chancellor, we have a registrar, like how you have a principal and a vice principal. So the most important post was librarian. Today, a librarian is another person. Then I said, okay, how much librarian is valued? And when I travel abroad in countries like US and UK, developed countries, they're developed because they keep knowledge together. Friends, knowledge is there. But do we actually use it? I just want to tell you, my dear friends, next time when you look at a librarian or a library, it is the heart of a college. It is not the canteen or the playground alone, okay? So I told you I like to go to canteen, playground. But remember one thing, the classroom is a sacred place. And the gods are actually sitting in the libraries. Yes, my dear friends. Next time when the lockdown opens, go. Look at the library. When I did my PhD, I used to spend so much time in the library. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam used to tell this very nicely. Library is the heart of a college. He never told classrooms also. Library is the heart of a college. But what happens? Heart beats, no? But nobody looks at the heart because it is inside. Dikhta nahi. Till you get a heart attack. So my dear friends, from next time onwards, next time you go to the college, go to the library. And what you should do, I will tell you what you should do. When I started doing my PhD guy, Dr. Shubhada Joshi madam, tells all the students, I was also a student, I said that, what you should do? There's a big library in Mumbai University. If you come to the Kalina campus, there is a Nehru library, it's called. Huge library. And of course, Rajabai Tower. You seen? We all part of the Mumbai University. You know what is Rajabai Tower? We think it's a clock. No, it's a library. Rajabai Tower, that whole building actually is a library from where the convocation ceremony happens. When President Obama came to India along with his wife Michelle, and he had come, the President of India, he came to Bombay. He went to Mani Bhavan, where Mahatma Gandhi stayed in Mumbai. But he went to colleges like Xavier's colleges. But Mrs. Obama, Michelle, actually came to the Mumbai University Library. Yes, she had an event over there. See how much those people respect a library culture along with an education culture. My dear friends, I am here, meet an author. Okay, I'm not going to talk about my books because Alka madam is already telling me about the books. Promotion and, autograph, photograph, sab karenge. But at the end of it, don't make this an event. If you seriously take this 1 hour today, it could be a life-changing event. Books are your best friends. And there cannot be a best friend like book. You know why? Because they give you so much knowledge. Books are never pages or papers. They are the life wisdom of so many people who have spent their lifetime to discover something new for humanity. So when a person writes a book, he or she gives his heart and soul. And as an author, I can tell you, it is a feeling of being a mother. When a mother gives birth to a child, the mother doesn't look at the child as, another person. It's me in another form. So when an author actually gives birth to a book, It is like a mother. So when I look at my book, like this, oh, Chatur Chanakya, it is not a book. It is Radhakrishnan Pillai in a different form. Isn't it true? So माँ को कभी अपने बच्चे अलग नहीं लगते. बच्चों को भूख लगती है, को माँ को भूख लगती है. So to understand this, and once you become an author, you are actually a book in a different form. When you become an author, you are a book in a different form. You are that. Okay? So I don't want to make you emotional, but definitely I want you to be sensible to understand the value of books. I can go on and on. This is my favorite subject, right? I'm a librarian. So I can go on and on and on and on. But I don't want to do that. But I'm going to talk about the next part of it. How to become an author. So let me see. I don't want to unmute it, but I want to use your particular chat box and tell me how many of you actually want to become an author. Come on. Maybe in a chat box. At least say I. If you don't want to become an author, then my session is over. I only put I myself, okay, to begin with. Okay. So you can see a lot of things. If you want to be an author, I. Okay. Everyone in waiting room. Got it. Friends, if you want to be an author, I'm going to give you a 3-step formula. Ready? 3-step formula to become an author. Before I talk about the author, let me tell you what authors and people in the book can do. Book industry, I would call it. You know who is the richest man in this particular world? Jeff Bezos. He started by selling books. Amazon is a book company. You know, once upon a time, who was the richest woman in the world? J.K. Rowling. Yes, let us not forget that Harry Potter. I'll tell you one more person. Okay, he is the second richest man in the world. His name is Warren Buffett. You know what he does? Every day read 5 books. So books can make you rich also. Don't think that it is only for studying and giving exams. So Amazon person became rich by selling books. Okay, J.K. Rowling because of being an author. And of course, Warren Buffett became an investor. Remember one thing. We look at books, unfortunately in India, as textbooks. Exam kab hai tab padhenge. It's a very sad thing that 93% of books sold in India are only textbooks. That means we don't read beyond textbooks. That means we only read for exams or giving exams. I want you to tell, approach should be different. Every subject in the world is written in a book format. Okay? So I will leave question answer to you so you can ask me questions. But let me start by actually telling you the 3 tips of becoming an author. Okay, so you should aim to be an author. The first step is read a lot. Okay, read a lot. It's important to read a lot of variety of books. Okay, so you can like a specific subject. You know, a lot of people like to read fiction books, novels, and some other subjects related to your area of interest. That's okay, but never read only one genre or one area. Read deep and wide. So when you read one subject, read multiple books within that subject, but read multiple books. So my library collection is about management books, spiritual books, text books on army, navy, air force, policing. I've got policing books. So मेरे को क्या लेना देना policing से? No, but I read that. Books on swimming, books on poetry, books on science, books of children. So, you know, when you read, you said, wow, there are so many different subjects. And of course, I got, almost 100 different books on Chanakya itself. Okay. The first thing is read a lot. The more you read, the more you understand how human beings think. So don't just read one subject, read multiple subjects and different topics. The first thing, so your mind will increase. Second thing, whenever you read a book, make notes. A lot of people just read it and go. And suppose you have borrowed a book. Today you can take a picture or some notes, but keep a note. Very important, because when you read a book, you'll get some idea, but after that you'll forget. So it's always good to keep writing notes and save it properly. And in today's generation, it's easy because you can type, you can text, you can take a digital copy or whatever and keep it. But after you make a note, okay, you should also know how to curate it. Curation means keeping it properly. It's like, mothers tell, arrange everything, but we like to throw everything here and there. And when that time comes, you don't get your pen and pencil or bag. Isn't it true? So remember, Google said something very nice. Knowledge is one thing, but organized knowledge is a billion thing. Okay, so you should know that your books are also organized, categorized. You can see that in the library. In the same year, notes should also be organized. You'd be surprised. I have got notes of the books that I've read right from my 4th standard, not only college days. And I keep it very properly organized. You tell me, I can retrieve it. I'm not telling you books, okay? Notes on the books. So it's very, very important when you read a book, don't just say, I have read the book. Sometimes, we have a category of book which is light reading. Okay, but 1 or 2 points. So every time you read a book, whatever learning you have, keep a notebook and arrange it properly. Okay, and that should be used lifelong. That should be used lifelong. Yes, not just for, today for giving exam. And then what happened? Third thing, if you like some idea, write about it. So that's what I mean. This is the last step to become an author. Read a lot, keep notes, do original thinking, and write. Many people say, how do I publish a book? Now, here is the good news. That there are 3 ways of publishing. One is called traditional publishing. The second is called new age publishing. And the third is called digital publishing. What is the meaning of these 3? Traditional publishers is what I generally work with, So there are publishers like Jacko, Rupa, Random Penguin Book House. There are big established publishers. So they will publish your book and bring out books like this, So if you look at it, you should know how to look at the name of the book. So there are, all things like, for example, if you see a circle over here, small circle, there's a logo of my Jacko books. You can see this also, Jacko books. Okay. So this is how traditional publishers are. But there is a new age publication. You can actually write a book and get it published in new age publishers. So they will make it on e-copy, digital copy, Kindle versions as you call it. So if you look at some of the books, it's got this black thing with an E. So my book is available in physical and also digital. Okay. So we have digital books also. So either you go to a traditional publisher and get a fixed book or get to an e-book. But very important, you don't require a publisher today if you want to be an author. How can I not have a publisher? That is the beauty of your generation. You can actually write a small article and blog it. So that is how you become an author. First time, if you don't do it, it's okay. You can write for newspapers, small articles, small columns. And slowly, you will develop the habit and then you can actually become an author. I also started like that, I used to write for newspapers. But I remember, as I told you, from 4th standard, I used to read and make notes. So when I was in 7th standard, we used to have a newspaper that used to come to a house called as Indian Express. The newspaper is still around. There used to be a children's section. So I wrote a small story or a joke and I sent it. It got published. And interestingly, I became very popular in my school. The principal called me, oh, your small story got published. We are very happy because school ka naam bhi tha udhar. The principal also became famous along with the school. I forgot it. But after 1 week, one small letter came to my house, envelope. I saw Indian Express, I opened it. It was a thank you letter from the editor. And there was a 100 rupee check. I said, wow. Wow, तो मेरे को पैसा भी मिलता है publishing. I never knew. So my mother said, you can't put it into bank. Why? You don't have a bank account. So she took me to a bank and, there's something called as, guardian. So it was opened in my mother's name. My first account was opened in my mother's name and she put the check. You never know. Small articles can also give you money. Today I write for magazines, I write for newspapers, for Times of India Group, Free Press Journal. I write for children's magazine also. Okay, a lot of people only know these books, the popular Chanakya books. But I'm a writer. And even if it is not publishing, I keep writing and keeping notes every day. Okay? So friends, if you want to write, don't wait for the traditional way. Publish it. And you'll be surprised. You can blog it. And the professional people today, they post their articles on LinkedIn. So, there is this whole professional site called as LinkedIn. Very soon, all of you will get it. Or maybe write a small article, Instagram it. It's okay. That's fine. Okay, or put it on Facebook, whatever. Remember one thing, start writing today itself. Your feelings, your poems, and you've got a lot of avenues today. So our thing was writing a book and waiting for a publisher. But your generation, write a good article and start. And you never know, a collection of articles can become a book. A collection of articles can also become a book. Okay, friends? So just want to tell you that some of my tips, my journey about book, and secondly, how you can become. And your generation should write a book because you're born in a world which is very different from us. They're born in a world of digital. You're all connected. You can have global friends. You can have better ideas. Information is available. But the thing is that the three principles remain the same. Read a lot. Okay? From today onwards, make sure at least 1 hour every day you should read. 1 hour every day. Ideally non-textbooks. Okay? And then make notes. Take it very seriously. And then finally, publish. Chota article likho. Out of people, small articles you never know can become a big author in the long run. So friends, I just want to wind up with a story and then we can take a question answer. You know, what happens when you become an author? What happens? You become famous. Yeah, that's okay. YouTuber is also famous. Everybody is famous today. But I'm not talking about that fame. A book, when you write, or when you become an author of an article also, okay? It is not just book. It's an author, okay? An author can actually create change in the society. This is one of the greatest contributions. I'll tell you about two very successful women who are very famous in India. And interestingly, they live in Bombay. One of them lives in Bombay and one of them lives in Bangalore. Okay, who are these girls? Interestingly, both these ladies have super successful husbands. Okay, so I want to tell you that both these ladies are having super successful husband. The first person, her husband's name is Narayan Murthy. And the second person's husband is Akshay Kumar. You heard about these two people? One is an industrialist and one is a Bollywood star. Isn't it true? Narayan Murthy, one of the most respected businessmen. But Akshay Kumar is also respected and he is the highest individual taxpayer in India. So it is not just Bollywood movies. Huh? You know this? He pays 25 crores per year to the government. How much? So it is not just acting. He pays. He's also a respected person. He's a true citizen of India. When all of you grow big, you know, one thing you should say, I will pay taxes honestly. Please understand, Gandhiji told us not to pay taxes. That time it was Britishers. Salt tax, remember that? I will not pay taxes. But you should be proud to pay taxes for the country. Okay, so both of them created wealth. While Narayan Murthy created wealth through Infosys and we have a great Infosys foundation which gives away money to the society. Akshay Kumar, a great film star, but also contributes to the society through wealth. Wealthy and successful husband. The wives always wonder, you know, मैं तो घर पे बैठ के बच्चों को देखती हूँ. I'm useless, but no. Narayan Murthy's wife is individually a very successful author. You remember her name? Sudha Murthy. So don't think her, you know, she's just a homemaker. She was actually a teacher, an engineer. But today she writes. I'm so fortunate to actually, you know, meet her so much because both of her are India's famous authors, isn't it? So Sudha Murthy is like a role model. What a sweet lady. And she writes very simple books. So, you know, I'm sure it's there in the library. Read about Sudha Murthy. Read her books. So many nice books. And Akshay Kumar's wife is Twinkle Khanna. And she's become an author. She's a very famous author. And she writes, you know, in the newspaper also, out of books also. And her pet name is Mrs. Funny Bones. Okay, and she talks a lot about the challenges that women go through. You know, sometimes successful women have different problems. So she is a woman empowerment person. So I'm not only talking about the males, I'm also talking about females. And I remember I actually got this award for the book Chanakya Niti along with Twinkle Khanna. We were different categories, okay? She got in a different category, I got in the management category. So we're sitting together and many times I meet Twinkle Khanna also and, you know, Sudha Murthy also. So once I asked Twinkle, you know, ma'am, yes, saying that, you know, how did you start writing first? You know what she told me? It was quite interesting. I never wanted to write. Huh? Because I am generally, you know, I'm a mother and, you know, homemaker because after, you know, my kids were born, I did not continue acting. It was my husband who continues. What happened? So, you know, whenever I used to feel, you know, lonely or, you know, sometimes alone, I used to start writing. I remember making notes. And one of my journalist friends asked, "Aajkal karti kya hai when you are having free time?" Because I try to write. Because when I was a child, I used to read a lot. And she said, "Oh, you write?" I said, "Yeah." "Why didn't you publish in a newspaper?" "Oh, I don't know how to publish." "Don't worry, I'll help you." The journalist friend got her published. And her writing quality was very good. And imagine she's an award-winning writer. So you never know. If you read a lot, make notes, suddenly you're already discovered your writing skills. So be it Sudha Murthy or Twinkle Khanna or Jeff Bezos of Amazon or Warren Buffett or Jeffrey Archer or be it, J.K. Rowling, everybody is part of the book culture. Welcome to the world of books. Welcome to the library. So today we are starting by meeting the author, but one day I want to come and say you are also an author. I want to inspire you to read books and write books. Thank you so much. I'm ready to take up questions now. Thank you.
Please
Yes.
raise hand. We can unmute you. Jatin sir,
Yeah.
they can themselves unmute themselves. Yeah, please ask.
Student who raises hand, we will unmute them.
Vaishnavi, go ahead. You can speak.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. So I just want to ask that, so how did publishing your first book change your process of writing?
I didn't hear it clearly. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. How did publishing your first book change your process of writing?
Oh, first of all, as I told you, I used to write small articles in newspapers and all those things. So book writing is different from writing an article. Okay, they are different. Like for example, an article in a book, in a newspaper would be generally around 500 to 700 words. It's a word count. When you write a book, it is 5,000 words. It's 50,000 words. So you see, writing a book is totally different. So it's like, studying in first standard and studying in 10th standard. So when I wrote my first book, I never knew this, okay? So it is actually the publishers, Jacko, who approached me and saying that, okay, you speak on Chanakya, can you write a book on Chanakya? I said, okay. And it took me 4.5 years to write my first book. So it is not writing one article, okay? It's a huge process. Let me also tell you, after you write a book also, it's called manuscript. But the manuscript actually goes through editing phases. And there's a cover design, there's a lot of other things. So a lot of things, it's a long journey, okay? So it's like, I would say writing an article is like going from one room to another. But writing a book is like going from your house to maybe the station and come back. So you have to get ready, get dressed. Moving from one room to another, you don't have to change your clothes, isn't it? So writing a book is a long process, but once you do it many times, it becomes faster. So the first book took me 4.5 years, as you say, writing, because I had no experience. But my last book was written in 10 days. So you know the difference. Practice makes you perfect. So that's how my change has happened from the first book till now. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, my question is who inspired you to become the author and why you choose the character Chanakya only?
Yeah. So my inspiration is my own father. As I told you, my father is a writer. I've seen him writing. Of course, he writes in Malayalam. So somewhere we had the book culture in our house. Reading, writing, So all this is already there. So inspiration came right from home. Ghar pe hi mila, bahar jane ki zarurat nahi padi. But then you have to understand one thing, that how did I choose Chanakya? Say, read a lot. I read. As I told you, Chanakya was one of the books I read. But I realized one thing, that Chanakya is a subject which actually is not known to people. Isn't it true? How many people can write on one single person 17 books and now 20 books? Okay. So I realized one thing, that there is a book which I read called as Kautilya's Artha Shastra. So it's there in the library. It's a very academic book, and Chanakya had written it 2,400 years ago. When I studied the book, I realized one thing: common man cannot understand it. It's very, very difficult language, and many times people don't read textbooks after the exam is over. They give it to Raddi. So it was a very, very different book, and I said, such a knowledge of Chanakya. It was written in Sanskrit, and the English was also very scholarly. Then I said, let me do one thing. Let me simplify that knowledge for a common man. It is said that if you cannot simplify knowledge, that means you have not understood it. So it's the responsibility of every person to simplify knowledge. So what I did, I wrote my first book, and the first book became a roaring success. Corporate Chanakya has turned 10 years, 2010 and 2020. It has sold 1 million copies, all books put together. How many million copies? So now you start calculating how much money I made. Okay, so don't think that it's a very bechara author banke jhola, but no, I'm not joking, and I'm very proud to tell you that my first book became a roaring success. So corporate Chanakya, I had no idea, so it's written over here. He's hits the bullseye with his very first book. So you see, it's written here. Okay, so you can read it. It's fine. By Radhakrishnan Pillai. Yeah. I said okay. Then one see it's like this, पहला अगर film hit हो गया तो दूसरा offer आता है ना. So one book became successful. One more book, one more. I say yes to everybody. So I've written with 5 books. One publisher told me now write a children's book. Chatur Chanakya came in. So to answer your question, sometimes you choose your path, and sometimes the path chooses you. It is said by a great philosopher called as Rumi. मैंने कभी चाणक्य को choose नहीं किया. Maybe Chanakya chose me. So I think it was reading a book that I got into it, but writing has become a habit. Okay, so that's how I got it. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, really blessed to see you live here.
Thank you.
Sir, I've went through many of your podcasts on the Ranveer show also, where you told about the book and autobiography of a yogi.
Yeah.
I went through the summary of that book, and sir, I wanted to ask you a question that what is the difference between the astral body and astral world, and also what is the higher level of that, like what is causal world?
Okay, so see, let me tell you that in my Ranveer show, all of you can go and search on Ranveer's YouTube. There are so many interviews of mine. Okay, so I'm very popular among the youth thanks to Ranveer. Okay, so in that, one of the interviews that he took me was on meditation and advanced meditation. So as you rightly pointed out, there's a book which I've read, and I request all of you to read. It's called Autobiography of a Yogi. It's a very famous book. It's a bestseller, and it's a must read for people who want to know about spirituality and meditation. So in that, there is a chapter on astral travel. Okay, what is astral? Astral means another world. See, there is one world which we can touch and feel and see. Okay, but there are many worlds that exist parallel. There are many planes. So these yogis can actually travel to another world and come back. Okay, so this book mentions about those astral travels. For example, you can go to another world. You can leave this body here, but not die. You can temporarily leave this body, go communicate to the souls and come back. Today is a very interesting day. I think today is Pitru Paksha, right? Amavasya. Okay. So if you know, some of you may have already seen it in your house. They do this Shraddha. You know what is that? Many people don't understand the scientific logic. So you say, my grandfather is dead and gone. No, my grandfather may be dead and gone, but he may be in astral form. So suppose, if you have this particular, a lot of souls, when they leave the body, they don't go and take up another body. They're in the astral world. So what we do is that we remember them. We give them food. So you'll see that rituals. Unko jo acha lagta tha, wo khana banate hain. It's a very scientific thing, but we make it a ritual. So what happens is that astral traveling is a method that you communicate to the souls of another world. Okay. So it is not about just that happens. So yogis know how to talk to those people, and then they can communicate to you. So I would say that, this whole thing is an autobiography yogi, but don't get too much interested in it. Okay. Because if what happens, don't get into that. But yes, it is true, it is scientific. But sometimes people can lose a track, and sometimes if you're not guided properly, you can land up in something wrong also. Astral travel is that it is a truth, it's a scientific thing, but it is for advanced meditators. Okay, because you are going to communicate to a lot of other beings. So I would say know about it, but follow your basic meditation to be a good human being first. ये सिद्धिया विद्यों के पीछे ज़्यादा मत जाना. Thank you. Yes, please.
Hi, sir. Very good afternoon, sir. Hello. Sir, how are you?
Very fine, sir.
Sir, my question is that what do you think about?
Give your name, please. Meet.
Sorry, sir. Myself, Meet Jain.
Yeah, Meet.
Yeah. Yeah. Sir, my question is, what do you think about meditation? I mean, क्या रोल क्या प्ले करता है मेडिटेशन हमारे लाइफ में, ओवरऑल रिलेशनशिप में, पूरा एंटायर लाइफ में, हमारे करियर में क्या रोल करता है मेडिटेशन, एंड ये नेसेसरी भी है क्या नहीं है, एंड इफ नेसेसरी है देन हम कैसे स्टार्ट करें, हाउ वी कैन स्टार्ट मेडिटेशन.
वेरी नाइस क्वेश्चन. मेडिटेशन के 2 फायदे होते हैं. ओके, पहला होता है बेसिक लेवल, द बेसिक लेवल बेनिफिट्स ऑफ मेडिटेशन, एंड सेकंड इज एडवांस लेवल. So the basic level, it will help you to calm down your mind. The problem with all of us is that we are so energetic. We think so much. And today's generation is so much overloaded information, isn't it? That's why we'll see a lot of people having mental level problems, mental health problems, depression, stress. Isn't it true? Because, your mind is continuously thinking, and every time you look at a WhatsApp, it's overload. So it's like your body can run, let's say 10 kilometers, but you're using your body to run 100 kilometers every day. So what will happen to the body? It will collapse. Isn't it true? The capacity of the body. The same way the mind also has a capacity. So it can think, but what happens so much now that the mind is not able to process. The first step, meditation allows you to cool down. Okay, gaadi bhag rahi hai, or even if you're a marathoner, you require rest. Isn't it true? You have to eat food, take some rest, and start again next day. So we don't know how to calm down our mind because the mind is continuously thinking, and you get a lot of problems, isn't it? And thinking is also a very, very energy consuming activity. So if you meditate every day, it's like, गाड़ी को बीच में रोकते हैं, body को थोड़ा rest देते हैं, so mind को थोड़ा rest देना. So every day I would say, if you want to be a person who wants to start meditation, start sitting quietly for 20 minutes. You have a lot of thoughts, bahar aayega, but don't worry, sit quietly, don't speak to others, just observe your mind. Once you practice it, I've been practicing meditation for the last 30 years. And then your mind becomes quiet.
But how we can stop the thoughts?
Nobody can stop the thought, but you can observe the thought. देखो वही सब लोग मेडिटेशन करने वालों की सबसे बड़ी गलती हुई तो कि मेरे मन में बहुत गलत विचार आते हैं या फिर कोई भी विचार आते हैं. It doesn't stop. It cannot stop because that's the nature of the mind. But you can look at the mind with a detached manner. Now, suddenly the second stage of meditation is not slowing down your thoughts. So first stage, take a deep breath, calm down your mind. But as you advance, you actually start connecting to your inner. That's why it is called spirituality. And finally, meditation leads you to moksha, nirvana. So let us not talk about that. At the basic level, calm down your mind. If the mind is blabbering, blah, 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 it's okay. If you practice, you'll know how to control your mind. And the final stage, you will achieve Godhood. So 20 minutes per day, take a deep breath, observe your mind. It's okay if thoughts are coming, but slowly by practice, you'll be able to control your thoughts. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dhairya Sangvi and I'm a huge fan of your work, your podcast. I've been listening to your podcast each and every second. Sir, I have 3 questions. First is, I know, we all know how much you have been reading about Chanakya. During the lockdown, I've been reading about Chanakya too, and not how much you did, but something about him. Sir, I want you to explain Chanakya Niti and Chanakya in you a little bit. I've heard that Chanakya Niti is one of the Nitis which can really improve the quality of your life. So I want you to put a highlight on it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your question. So there are 2 books that Chanakya wrote. One is called Kautilya Arthashastra, which has got 6,000 sutras of how to be a leader. And the second is called Chanakya Niti, which has got around 350 sutras. Sutras are like formulas, okay? So I've written on both Arthashastra and Chanakya Niti. So I just told you this is my book Chanakya Niti. Okay, there are so many translations available. This is the Radhakrishnan Pillai's version, okay? So it's not only my version, there are many. Now coming back to Chanakya Niti, it's a very practical book. Okay, it tells you how to be smart, how to be successful, how to be a good student, how to earn money, how to be a leader. So, they have small tips. How to be a good parent also. So it depends on the different stages of your life, you can actually benefit. So how to use Chanakya Niti in your life, I would suggest that, get a copy of the book. Okay, and madam, as you said, we can even think about autographing and all. The thing is that once you get a copy of the book, please read it. I read it little every day. Don't read it like a novel. If you can, it's great. But what I'm saying is that it's like, 1 capsule per day, daily capsule. So you don't really take a whole medicine, the whole bottle. The doctor says, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. So I say, if you can read it 3 times, morning, afternoon, evening, that's fine. So 1 sutra per day. And I have given the explanation and the commentary. Otherwise, so at least 1 a day. Slowly happen. What happens? Your mind starts changing. It starts thinking like exercise, slowly exercise, your body becomes fitter. So Chanakya Niti makes you buddhiman. It makes you intelligent. It makes you smart. So if you know Chanakya Niti, you'll become successful.
It's
Thank
5
you
o'clock.
for your wonderful question. Thank you.
We'll take the last question, sir. One
Yes,
last
sir.
question.
Yes, sir.
So,
Raghav, please go ahead.
good evening, sir.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm very grateful to you, sir, because
Sorry, sorry.
hello.
Raghav, you can unmute yourself, please.
Okay, sir. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm very grateful for all those recommendations, and based on your recommendation, I knew you had recommended autobiography of Yogi, so I read it on your recommendation, and I loved it thoroughly. But sir, I have always had this conundrum that I have always looked for, the original Kautilya Arthashastra that he taught in the Mauryan period of history, and I have always found that people have very different versions of they've written many versions of the original Chanakya Niti, and I have always struggled to find which one is the original manuscript. And there are so many versions, and what is your take on all those different versions, and which one do you think is actually the closest to the original?
So as you rightly pointed out, there are so many versions. See, this is the beauty. The more the versions, the better it is. Unfortunately, the more the version, we get confused. Okay,
Right,
so
sir.
let's say a book like Ramayana, there are so many versions, and actually that's the strength, because there is a Tulsi Ramayana, there is a Kamba Ramayana, there is a Valmiki Ramayana, good or bad, very good. So what happens is that if you have versions, that means that subject, that book is successful. That's why Ramayana is successful everywhere. Mahabharata is successful. Same with Chanakya Niti is also very successful because so many people have written. I have actually read 40 different versions of Chanakya Niti. Okay, 40 different, not one or two. So I also got confused because some changes would be there, some little changes. So, kaun sa sahi hai? But then I realized one thing, sab log sahi hai. So everybody gives a little bit of a new dimension. So read maximum. But my famous and my popular and my favorite Chanakya Niti, based on which I have written my Chanakya Niti, is by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, published by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. I think the author is B.K. Sharma. If you can just go to Chanakya Niti by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, you Google it, it's available. So that's my famous version because it's got beautiful understanding about the Sanskrit, the English. Okay, so if you come to refer it, that's one of the best versions that I find. And you can read multiple and maximum, but your knowledge increases with different perspectives. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, one more thing. Is the original Arthashastra still available?
You want to see the original Arthashastra? I want you to go to Mysore University. Okay. In the Mysore University, there is a library. Remember the librarians doing a wonderful job?
Yes,
they
sir.
actually have the 2,400 years old palm leaves of Arthashastra.
Wow.
It is not, I'm talking about the translation. Okay, the original is there in Mysore University. It's in palm leaves. Tadpatri bolte. So that is the original one, but you'll not understand it. So now there are so many people who have written versions of it. My favorite version in paper. Okay, so it was translated by one Shama Shastri during 1905. He found it. But he translated that, and there are so many scholars. My favorite is R.P. Kangle. R.P. Kangle, he's translated. So Arthashastra is available, the original one and the translated version also. So you can refer to it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Before I wind up, I have a small suggestion to all of you. You can see a lot of hands raised. And, Alkamam told me that, there'll be a lot of questions. And I know this questions is good, but I want to give you a very interesting thing. Please go and follow my YouTube channel. Okay, now I have a particular series that I do on YouTube. It's called Ask Chanakya. Okay, so the interesting part is that the moment I answer one question, another question comes up, which is a good sign. Questions never end. That's the good quality of a student. But how much can you ask? Because of the time limitation. So I want all of you to go to our channel. It's called Chanakya Anvikshiki. Okay, so there is a Radhakrishnan Pillai channel, YouTube. No. So we have now teaching Chanakya Niti through a company called Chanakya Anvikshiki. Go to the YouTube channel and there is a series that we do called Ask Chanakya. So you can send your questions. We'll answer it over there. Okay. Another important thing is that please follow me on social media. Okay. I'm very popular. My Twitters are there, my Instagram, my Facebook, everything is there. So I'm available on LinkedIn also, all platforms. So if you go there and just type Radhakrishnan Pillai, you'll find a lot of them. So I know the time limitation is there, but I will tell you, this should not end our journey, okay? This should only be the beginning of our journey to discover Chanakya, but also discover yourself, okay? So please read books, spend time in the library, become an author, and most important, look forward to see all of you in person someday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to propose vote of thanks. I am thankful to the management who is our strength, who allows us to conduct such programs. Our principal, she is very dynamic and always encourages us to conduct such kind of activities. And whenever we go with the proposal, she never says no. I'm thankful to the vice principal for any guidance. We definitely go to him. And I'm thankful to Dr. Vaibhav Asher, Jatin sir, Ganga madam for their help in conducting this program. I am thankful to my entire library team. Without them, I am zero. They are without the team you cannot do anything. And your book also says that leadership is to take everybody along with you, then only you can lead. I am thankful to all my dear students without whose participation this event would not have been successful. I am thankful to all my colleagues, my teachers who have shared this link and the posters to in the respective class and make this event communicable to the students. Thank you everyone for attending this program. And sir, I want to share you one thing. Your guru and my guru is same. Subhada Joshi, I am also a philosophy student. I am a Ruyaite and she was working in Ruya. And I've also done my master's in. So in that way, we are also connected. Subhada Joshi ma'am, she is also my guru.
Wow.
Thank you very much to have you, sir. And I would definitely like you to meet you personally, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, welcome, Vaibhav sir, participants. Thank you.
Vaibhav sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.